My name is Haneen. I am a Muslim Palestinian American writer, editor, and photographer. Started with Aja in March 2018, so it's been a good almost 5 years. And they basically told us that we would be part of this amazingly large project under Urban Habitat, where we would be creating a series, and I would be focusing on city heights. And I'm predominantly a novel writer, so I write mostly young adult and adult, with a focus on race, gender, religion, just women's rights, and just my parents immigrated here. We were in an area of North Park, and this was before it was gentrified. And so that was a huge thing for me to go back and to research that history, but to also connect back to the youth here. This was essentially a story for the youth. We reached out to Mid-City Can, another wonderful organization in City Heights, and they gave us a space. We brought in youth. They gave us the history from their point of view about everything from food for the Somali community to have halal food on campus as high school students, transportation, just getting to campus around City Heights, having to take a bus, having to pay for that versus being given the opportunity of free transportation as a student. Just imagine sitting around the table and these young people opening my work and just tearing it apart and really just telling me, how they saw City Heights, because it was a lot different from what I saw. And they pointed out, as you'll see in the artwork, they were like, oh, that one coffee shop and that one amazing street we'd walk by, oh, that place is too dangerous, don't have the kids walk down that street. And that was an important thing, because every time I would leave these spaces, I would actually be escorted out for safety. So I chose these characters because the history starts with those communities. But when it came to specifically illustrating each of these characters, but specifically for me, the Muslim character, when I brought that character's illustrations back to the community, it came out as offensive. And I say that because it's important to go back to the community and make sure that you're representing them in the way that they want to be represented. I wanted to make sure that even the hijab representation was beautiful. We had other illustrators come in and sent theirs, but when Chey's illustration came in, I actually did cry. I immediately, I think, ran down and showed my family, and it wasn't just the Muslim character. It was the full illustration. It was her entire concept.
So I've been involved in activism since high school as well. I was a secretary of my local GSA. I went to a pretty white high school, so that was the main minority club to get involved with. Projects that I've collaborated with so far have mostly had some sort of activist skew to them. And finding a project about first-generation immigrants that I was able to kind of draw from my family and put into it, it was just a really good feeling.
So this is actually something that did happen in City Heights. There was a huge push to put halal food, like I said, in the school system, and it was actually done by the community of organizers and activists who came in and really had to explain to the community why this was so important. This was the first day that the kids get to school and halal food is being offered. So it was like a nice halal meal. Some of the stuff like transportation is actually now being offered, so things have actually moved forward. But these were kind of important aspects, things that were issues that were important specifically for the youth of City Heights.
Okay.
And I think that was a collaborative process that I loved when I first started on this project. These are our stories to tell, or our community stories to tell. And I very full-heartedly believe, this another concept that people talk about is voice of the voiceless. No one's voiceless. No one's voiceless. So when I look at this comic, I am an ally. And what can I do as an ally to amplify and support the voices of this comic? Our stories are so interwoven with everything that's happening in the world.